Dear friend, so excited to welcome back to my channel after a bit long business trip. Today I'm going to delve into the room. Look back on the TryHackMe. This is another Windows room. Without any further ado, let's just get started. Of course, please do not forget to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. As you know, this will help my channel grow. So now let's head over to Kali Linux VM to begin with. First of all, we need to discover open ports and running surfaces on those ports. To save time of this video, I've already completed before. So now we can get out its result. Let me scroll up a bit. So as you can see over here, I took the options like scene scan, the version scan, default script scan. Since the target machine is Windows, so here I put the uppercase PN to not to do live testing or reachability scanning or testing, okay? And use the option of ON to output the result into this file. Although you can notice here the IP address has already changed because I re-imported I respawned the target machine. Anyhow, this will not affect our demonstration. From the nmap scanning result, we can tell the target machine has 1, 2, 3 open ports in total. Let's take a look at them one by one. The first open port, 80, the surface is HTTP or Hypertext Transfer Protocol. And the version is Microsoft HTTP API, HTTPD 2. And the site doesn't have a title. Maybe there is nothing with this site or with the port, possibly. And the next one is 443. And the nmap just give us the possible surface, HTTPS. And but I think this should be because we find the host name, and maybe we can copy and note down to our notebook, right? And of course, the port 80, the surface is HTTP, port 443, HTTPS, and port. This is terminal, the remote desktop surface, as we know, right? And of course, here we can find this host name as well. Since we do not have the credentials required for collecting to the target machine over this port number 3389. So I think we should pay more attention to the first two open ports, right? So how to do? And we need to enumerate these two ports, both manually and automatically. But before we do that, I think we can append this host name to the host file first, okay? So how to do? We can use maybe I can copy, yes, we can use the command line, echo, and the IP address of the target. Let me copy from my notebook. Copy it, paste over here, and oh, what's wrong? So now I can copy it again, copy. What happened? Copy. Okay, now it's working now, and we can copy its host name. And then single quote. Why? So maybe there is some problem with my mouse. I'm not sure. We can use a single quote and use pipe operator sudo append mode option hosts. Okay, it's done. So now we can access the target machine on both ports 80 and 443. Let's fire up the browser and put the IP address, not IP address, domain name, press enter to see what we can get. It seems nothing returned from the target machine. Very weird, right? And we can check its source code. It's empty as well. And let me use the Q command to retrieve the robots file. Oh, why? Very, very weird. Robots. Nothing returned. Okay, and then we can launch GoBuster to perform directory enumeration. And let me autocomplete this command. As usual, I have already demonstrated this utility GoBuster a lot of times. So now we can hit enter. However, we got this error. The server returns a status code that matches the provided options for non-existing URLs. And to remove this error, we can use another option, exclude length 0, press enter. In the meantime, we can have a look at the second port, open port 443. As you know, 443 is for HTTPS service. So now we can use HTTPS, press enter. We are, from the title of this site, it seems we are redirected to Outlook service. So domain, username. We can try to use admin and admin to sign in. Something went wrong. So this means the credential, the default credential is not working. And normally I don't think this service is vulnerable to SQL injection attack. Okay? But anyhow, we can check its source code. So copyright, login. So what's this? Some sort of string. I don't know what it's about. We can scroll down to the bottom. I failed to find anything useful. Look wacky if the script somehow doesn't apply a class. Okay, so let me close up this tab. Let me go back to the terminal window to see what we have already got. Yeah, the GoBuster successfully discovered a hidden directory for us. Test. Wonderful. So now we can open new tab and access this discovered directory. Access is denied. We do not have permission to view this directory or page using the credentials that you supplied. Of course, we do not have any credential, but the test is not Outlook, right? So why we need to provide credentials? Very weird. And you know, I don't think GoBuster can find anything else beyond this directory. So how to do next? We can make the same directory enumeration for the HTTPS. Okay, press enter. Oh, invalid certificate. To remove or to go on, we need to put one more additional option, K, to disable certificate validation. So now we can hit enter. To see what we can get this time. The GoBuster, the version. Maybe sometime I need to update my GoBuster, since I use GoBuster a lot. But in most situations, GoBuster can work very well. Oh, similar to the last port, GoBuster also found test directory. Let's access this directory as well. We can remove it. Test. This time we are required to provide credentials. And this is some sort of HTTP basic authentication. And of course, we can use Hydra to make brute forcing. But before we do that, we can try to use default credentials like admin as username, admin as password. Sign in. Amazing, it works. Fantastic. So, and we successfully get the first flag. This interface should be removed on production. Unfortunately, it has not been removed yet. So now we can copy, and to answer the first question. Correct. Beautiful. Let's go back to continue our journey. So this is a log analyzer pass. And so I think this should be parameter we have to pass to the log analyzer, right? And we can run it. So list generated at this time. It looks like, there is some sort of executable or command running at the back end. So can we change different paths? As we know, the target machine is Windows. So maybe I can put this one, run it. Oh, cannot find path. And by default, our input string will be put this part, right? Or after the C and the column. And of course, this doesn't exist. So this can give us some very important information. First of all, it confirms our early guess. Indeed, the backend is running some kinds of command or executable, right? And it looks like it's running, or we are in the context of PowerShell. The get content, and this should be the parameter which will be passed to the command get content. Okay, so maybe we can put this one. The one dot means current directory. Let's run it. However, access to pass to this directory or folder is denied. Unauthorized access exception. So I think at this point we can have some more guess, possibly here in this context of PowerShell. We can inject command. Inject PowerShell command. So how to escape the this string? We can use the single quotes, for example, like single quotes. Run it. Yeah, the string is missing the terminator. This one, category information. So now I think we can run, like reverse shell. Let's test it. Make a testing now. Okay, so how to do? We can go to this website, or you can go to my website to generate the reverse shell, and then you can put the IP address of the Linux or attacking machine, and then the port number. Here I'm using 443, and then we can copy this command, and here is using base 64 to encode the command or the payload. We can copy, and let's go back to Linux. And so how to do next? We can put, parentheses. Of course, we can run who am I and the #. #. is comment. We can run it. It does work, right? We can get the identity or the user information of the machine. And now we can put the reverse command in this part. Before we hit the run button, we can set up the listener first in Linux, waiting for collection from the target machine. Okay. Now hit run. As you can see, we successfully got collection from the target machine. So beautiful. So now we can run command like who am I? Yes. And we can go to, the root directory and go to the users. And I don't think, of course, now we are not administrator. Or is admin? Administrator? No. We do not have permission to access administrator folder at this moment. Let's go to another one, dev. And I think we can get the user flag without any difficulty. We can type out the user flag and we can copy it. And submit it to the room to answer the second question. Beautiful, it's correct. So now let's go back to Linux. And that is because this is easy room. Above this user flag, we can find to-do list file, and we can type out as well to-do text. So here, hi, developer team. This is the task list for the deadline. Promote server to domain controller, done. Set up Microsoft Exchange, done. Set up RIS, done. Remove the log analyzer, to be done. Yeah, it's not removed yet. So this is the reason why we can, exploit this log analyzer. Add all the users from the infra department, to be done. And install the security update for the Microsoft Exchange. So this means the Exchange server or software is not updated. Possibly there is some sort of vulnerability with this version of Exchange. And we can find the users. Oh, we can copy. And maybe we can run the command to get the all users. So the dev, administrator, this is some sort of the session management. From the to-do list, we can guess probably the Exchange server is vulnerable, just I mentioned. So how to know whether this version is vulnerable or not? Sorry, my bad. And we need to check out its version first, right? So how to check? We need to utilize the PowerShell command, and you can get the reference from the Microsoft website, like a new alias, set alias, a lot of commands. So here I'm going to use the get command. Okay, so how to do? Get command, and the executable for the Exchange server is ex setup. Okay, maybe I can use, oh no, get command setup, and I want to get the file version, right? File version info. Oh, sorry, I misspelled this. I need to run it again. Get command setup xe, and we can get, this is return object, and we can get the info. So we can get the version information v15, and then we can use Google. Actually, this this one is responding or corresponding to Exchange Server 2019, and we can use this. Actually, this is vulnerable, and use Google. You can make a search. As a matter of fact, Metasploit framework has its corresponding module or exploit module. Let me show you what I mean exactly. Okay, let me launch Metasploit console. Let me search Exchange, exploit, and Windows, right? And so this module is I'm looking for. We can copy, paste over here. And let me make the font a bit bigger so you can see what's going on exactly. We can show options. We can set localhost to our Kali Linux or attack machine. We can copy the IP address from my notebook. Okay, set local port number like 66, and also we can set. I think we can set a remote host to. We can copy its IP address from notebook. We can copy. And also set the remote port number to 443. 443, port 80 doesn't have anything to do with this service or Exchange service. And also, I think we can show options again. So we need to set email, a no email address for this organization. We can set email. And just now, we have already got some email account from the to-do list. Well, we can copy. Okay, and also I think we need to set the virtual host, right? We host, and we can copy from notebook either. Okay, let me show options one more time to make sure we have already configured all required fields. Sorry, fields, not field. You know, there's so many fields. There's several fields which are required to configure properly. Okay, let's run it to see whether we can get a Metasploit session. If we can, and then I think this Metasploit session should belong to administrator, right? I think it's working. So we got the internal server name retrieving backend FQDN over RPC request, assigning the mailbox import export role. Saving a draft email with subject with any, of course, any information, and writing to this folder. I think it's almost done. Hopefully. So the mailbox export request has completed. And now it's a sending stage payload to the target machine. And then I think the payload will be executed, and then we can get Metasploit session. Because the payload, I didn't change the payload. This should be, I think, by default, for this exploit module, by default, the payload is Metasploit, okay? Let's go back. So Metasploit session 1 opened. So this means it does work. And now it's doing some cleanup on the machine, removing the draft email, removing the mailbox export request. It's done. We got this prompt, and then we can, run get UID. Indeed, we are administrator. If we want, we can run command shell to get interactive shell, and we can go to the root of the machine, and let's go to the users directory or folder, and then we can go to administrator because we want to grab the final flag. Okay, and go to the desktop. However, there is nothing on the desktop of the administrator. Doesn't matter. Possibly the final flag is living within the documents directory. Yeah, it's here. So now we can type out the flag, and we can copy the final flag to complete this room. Okay, Submit. So I think that's all for this video. I'd like to see you next. Bye. Have a good day, please.